Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and although Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Nigel Farage are all experiencing a bit of a loving with one another now, what if it all goes sour? Does Farage actually have anything to worry about from Elon Musk in the next few years? But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So, Elon Musk is now actively promoting Reform UK. It's not enough to be bashing the Labour government. Actively promoting Reform UK. Reform UK, he says, are going to win the next general election. It's all over Twitter. And political writer Sam Bright has been musing that maybe Farage may find Elon Musk to be a bit of a problem in the future. It centres, I suppose, on just how extreme extremism should be. By most standards, Nigel Farage is pretty extreme, pushing people to hate their neighbours instead of the people really squeezing their standard of living. But Farage has his limits, at least politically. In order to chase after the votes of relatively moderate members of the public, he can't go to the extremes of Tommy Robinson, for example. You know, there was a bit of a bust up this summer when Farage strategically distanced himself from Tommy Robinson and his movement. Yet Elon Musk is all over it. And then consider what Trump aims to do in America: mass deportations. Let's say Musk and Trump can actually action this policy, and we see it happening. Farage will inevitably be invited to comment. Does he support the policy? Does he think the UK should follow suit? Tricky. Supporting Trump's government on this policy would shift his party back into Tommy Robinson territory, which he's been studiously trying to move it away from. But if he says he doesn't agree with the policy, then does that make him a target for Musk? Assuming Musk still hasn't fallen out with Trump at this point, it could all get very messy. And Bright was wondering if Musk may end up targeting Farage as being weak. It'd be ironic, really. See, Farage blames the failures of Brexit on the Tories being too weak to implement the real Brexit, even though he never bothered to say what the real Brexit was during either the referendum campaign or the Article 50 years. You know, during the referendum, oh, it'll work like this and it'll be marvellous. And then it's like, oh, no, it needs to work like this and it'll all be marvellous. Oh, no, it needs to work like this and then it'll all be marvellous. But will Farage get a dose of the same? And how might that impact Reform UK's political fortunes? Assuming Twitter is still the toxic cesspit it is now and still influencing voters who prioritise anti-immigration policies, will Musk end up fracturing Reform's support? And then let me just extend that analysis a little. Let's say Trump implements these mass deportations, and quickly, and I mean in the next year. And let's say he gets away with it. And I don't mean politically, I mean as in he actually manages to carry this policy out broadly in the terms he's described. The consequences, of course, are suddenly America is millions down on the old workforce. And given that America has, statistically speaking, pretty much full employment, that will just send businesses into a spin. Just as with any anti-immigration moves in any country that statistically has full employment, it's not just immigrants who lose their job, but native citizens as well. Because businesses collapsing because of a sudden drop in workers means that all the other workers lose their jobs as well. Just how severe the impact is depends on how much the policy gets enacted in line with the current rhetoric. Will there be moves to water it down or not? If not, then Farage may experience a bit of a double whammy. A loss of support from the not completely insane voters he's chasing after, as they see the fallout in America, whilst at the same time appearing to distance himself from a now under pressure MAGA government who are not going to take kindly to allies appearing to cut and run. Because although I've talked recently about the various ways in which Reform UK genuinely can build up more support over the next few years, and amplified, of course, by the Tory media, I've also mentioned potential stumbling blocks for them as well, and this is one of them. Farage has survived the post-Brexit years and even flourished. He's an anti-immigration campaigner who supported Brexit, and yet we've seen more data showing that Brexit has actually stoked higher immigration. But Farage gets away with it for a couple of reasons. First, the idea that Brexit actually raised immigration is so counterintuitive to most people that, Farage supporters can easily just dismiss the whole concept, despite the very obvious proof. Discounting facts has been a thing for a while now. Second, and most importantly, Farage has had a separation from power. that allows him to simply dismiss the disastrous results of his own policies as being caused by incompetent or weak implementation. But although MAGA is currently a source of strength for him, and it could continue to be, it could also be a major weakness for him in a few years' time. The next presidential term is going to play out in full before the next UK general election, assuming Starmer means it when he talks about a 2029 election. If the MAGA project goes badly wrong, in a way that is obvious to Farage's target support, he's going to be in a bit of a hole, isn't he? He will happily dismiss the Tories as weak and incompetent. He will not dare level either accusation against Trump. His best shot, I suppose, would be to blame Trump's functionaries, like maybe, I don't know, Elon Musk. But doing so while Musk remains influential on social media risks a backlash. Musk may well turn out to be a face-eating leopard for Farage. Success in a first-past-the-post system requires appealing to very different groups of voters. You know, in the past, the established parties have had to rely on core support and then chase after smaller, more defined groups of swing voters. The big two, I think, still run their strategies on that same basis. It's going to be much less effective now, as this year's election results show. But Reform UK don't have that core support to begin with. Much easier to separate voters from a party when those voters don't have a lifetime's experience of voting the same way. Farage has built up this large coalition of voters, but it's a fragile one. People talk about Labour's fragile support, and yet that fragility is no less, or no greater, than for any other party. And it is, you know, Reform UK much more fragile because they've only existed for a few years. With Trump's government, if they really do go for it, no holding back, and Congress allows them to, it could be the closest thing to seeing Farage in power for his supporters. Because if Farage can't bring himself to criticise Trump's policies or actions, he's basically saying that what Trump does in America, Farage would do in the UK, given the chance. And if Farage does distance himself from the most off-putting MAGA policies, he invites retribution from the Oompa Loompa of vengeance and his minions. So although, yes, there are worrying signs for the rise of populism in Britain, there is potential to divide it against itself as well. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can join for memberships. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.